A presidential threat to end an entire civilization in one night is a direct signal of intent to 92 million people. It is a statement that the White House is prepared to utilize its nuclear command structure to solve a regional stalemate. This threat is backed by 500 Minuteman III missiles. Each warhead is multiple times more powerful than the bombs dropped on Hiroshima, and the president can authorize a retargeted launch in under 45 minutes. But the promise of absolute destruction has not achieved its goals. Instead, this doctrine of overwhelming force has trapped the United States in a cycle of escalation, where every strike increases the cost of the eventual exit. This industrial layout reveals the target of recent U.S. air campaigns. While these buildings and centrifuges are clearly visible to satellite intelligence, they represent only the surface level of the problem. Enriched uranium is stored in bunkers deep underground. Tactical strikes turn the surface into rubble, but the nuclear material remains intact. It's like panning for gold. You destroy the pan and the river, but the gold is undamaged and ready to be recovered. This mechanical failure means that every bombing raid simply kicks the can down the road. The threat is suppressed for a few months, but it is never actually eliminated. 40 days of continuous bombing failed to break Iranian morale. Instead, sustained strikes turned a fragmented population into a unified nationalist front. The terror of these strikes has silenced the internal pro-democracy movement. Faced with a threat to their entire civilization, even the regime's harshest critics are now looking to the government for basic survival. A campaign intended to weaken the country has paradoxically strengthened it. By creating an external existential threat, the United States has unified the Iranian people behind their leadership. Roughly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through the Strait of Hormuz. This makes the narrow waterway a singular point of failure for the global economy. To control this passage, Iran uses decentralized drone networks hidden in deep mountain tunnels. These launchers are mobile, buried, and capable of striking tankers at a moment's notice. The U.S. military cannot stop these attacks with air power alone. Surface-level intelligence is unable to track the location of an arsenal stored hundreds of feet below the earth. This selective blockade gives Iran immense leverage. By threatening the energy supply of its neighbors, Tehran can effectively dictate political terms to major markets in Asia and Europe. For decades, the United States served as the military anchor for the Gulf states. This protection allowed nations like Saudi Arabia and the UAE to build some of the most prosperous economies in the world. But after precision drones successfully struck American bases, that sense of security evaporated. Allies like Japan are now distancing themselves from Washington's war, and Saudi Arabia is actively looking to Pakistan for new security guarantees. The inability to protect these bases transforms them from strategic assets into liabilities. This shifts the regional balance, as partners who once relied on the U.S. now look to Pakistan or direct deals with Tehran to secure their future. The current stalemate is unsustainable. The White House is now at a fork in the road, facing a choice between a direct ground invasion or a complete regional retreat. Path 1 is Stage 3, using amphibious forces and Osprey aircraft to seize the Iranian coastline and take control of the oil fields. This would require landing troops in a mountainous, lunar-like landscape. It is the most difficult terrain on Earth for an invading force, where every ridge provides a defensive advantage to the local military. Historically, once American troops die in combat, political pressure makes withdrawal nearly impossible. Instead of pulling back, governments often double down to ensure the initial casualties did not die for nothing. This casualty spiral means that even a limited insertion would likely commit the United States to a bloody ground war lasting at least 6 months. This visual shows the impact of a full military retreat. Without American containment, Iran emerges as a fourth center of world power, holding the same regional influence that Russia and China hold over their own neighbors. In this scenario, Tehran has every reason to move closer to Moscow and Beijing. This creates a formalized axis of powers with a shared interest in challenging American economic influence. Together, Russia and Iran control more than 30% of global oil. If they coordinate to pull that supply off the market, they can trigger massive inflation and drive up the cost of living for every American household. Retreating avoids the cost of a ground war, but it concedes control of the world's most vital energy corridor. In this scenario, the flow of global oil is no longer managed by American interests, but by the coordinated decisions of Tehran and its allies. There is only one diplomatic alternative left: a system of mutual nuclear verification and strict military containment. This would require a painful trade-off. To get inspectors into Iran's enrichment sites, Israel would likely have to join the Non-Proliferation Treaty and open its own nuclear facilities to international monitoring. The true indicator of which path we are taking is not the rhetoric of politicians, but the physical deployment of troops. As more carriers and Marines move into the Gulf, the window for this diplomatic off-ramp is rapidly closing.